talking about standing out, standing out. In today's episode of The Big Vision Show, we're talking about how you can stand out from the crowd. Hi there, my name's Max Simon, the founder of The Big Vision Show, and this is all about how you can reach more people, thrive financially, and stand out in a crowd. So here's the deal. You're out there in the world trying to get your message out and make sure people respond more powerfully to you, and yet there is a million other people talking and sharing their message on this side, making it for a very loud, noisy world. So if you don't stand out, your message will just get pushed aside. That's why it's of the highest priority to really come up with the most creative ways that you can make a bigger, deeper, more creative impact with your marketing and the way that you communicate, so that people pay close attention to who you are, what you do, and why they should ultimately become a client or a customer of yours. So let me tell you the 3 ways that I think are most effective for you to stand out from the crowd. The first is to tell your own quirky, crazy, cool personal stories. You see, I'll tell you a story about me that you might not know. When I was on my way to my first day of school and I was in like kindergarten, I was riding in my dad's car, and you know how those little temperature gauges, they say min and max? Well, I didn't know what that meant. So I asked my dad, I said, what does that mean? And he said, min is the least powerful and max is the most powerful. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I went to school that day and they were all sitting around in a little circle and they said, everybody stand up and say your name. So got to my turn and I stood right up and I was like, my name's Max Simon. Now, my name was not Max Simon. My name was Matthew Simon. But at that point, I introduced myself to all my friends and my teachers as Max, and they were like, all right, cool, Max Simon. So my mom came to pick me up that day, and the teacher comes out and it's like, oh, your son Max, he's so great. And my mom's like, I don't have a son, Max. And I come walking up, I was like, yes, you do. Everybody calls me Max. And since that day, when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever, I've been called Max. I tell you that story because that's something that made me stand out. That's an interesting, quirky little thing that I tell people that always helps people remember who I am. The second way to stand out is to have a strong POV, which means to have a strong point of view. You see, way too many people in this industry are just trying to be nice and fluffy and friendly and say things that people want to hear. But not enough people are standing out with a strong, direct point of view that confronts people, that challenges people, that's different than what everybody else is saying. I found that the reason why people don't do this is they're afraid to be liked, and they're afraid to be judged, and they're afraid to be different. And you know what? Really, you should be as different and weird and unique as you can get, because that's what will help people say, wow, this is somebody I want to follow. This is somebody I want to pay attention to. This is somebody I would like to spend money to be around. So whatever it is that you've been wanting to say that's maybe pissing you off, or people aren't talking about, or feels really alive to you, you know, get on your mountaintop, or what do they call it? Get on your soapbox and start shouting around your unique point of view. And the third way to stand out is to, metaphorically, let your freak flag fly. And what I mean by that is there's things that you do that are unique to you. Like, for example, when I'm speaking on stage, I'm always barefoot. Not just because I can't afford shoes, but because it helps me to stay grounded while I am like sharing all of my energy and enthusiasm with the world. That's something I don't necessarily do it to stand out. I do it because that's who I am. I do it because that's what I believe in. I do it because that's how I want to live my life. And by doing that, by being rooted enough in what's true for me and what's real for me, I also happen to stand out. So those are the 3 ways to stand out. Share your own personal stories, have a strong point of view, and let your freak flag fly. Man, those are good pieces of wisdom to make a dent in your own unique, special way. And that brings us to today's Big Vision question of the day. I'd love to hear your answers in one of these 3 categories. Either what's a unique personal story of yours, what's a unique point of view of yours, or what's one of the things that's really special and different about letting your freak flag fly. Say that 3 times. I'd love to hear your stories, your comments, your anecdotes right below. And if you feel that the world deserves to hear this message, share it with all your friends. Hit the Facebook button, hit the like button, hit the little birdie button that tweets all around. Hit all the buttons to make this everywhere on the interwebs. And of course, if you're not a Big Vision Business insider, head on over to bigvisionbusiness.com, enter your name and email address. You'll be glad you did. Thanks so much for joining us in today's episode. I hope you loved it, and I'll see you next week. Much love. It's so funny how this thing like stand out from the crowd. That's kind of a weird intro. All right, let's try that one again. Start over. So I went, share your own personal stories. Let your freak flag fly, let your freak flag fly. No, I cannot. Let your freak flag fly, let your freak flag fly, let your freak flag fly, let your freak flag fly.